Do you hear that sound? It's the big ass beast of a Batmobile that's as big as a freaking building that the absolute Batman is rolling around in. That is the only thing I've been able to think about comic book wise for the last 24 hours.
You said big ass. My brain instantly made a fart noise before you could even finish your sentence. And now I just will associate that giant ass Batmobile with little toots. Maybe it's a Tesla.
All right. We've got we've got a lot of show to
had
do.
a
We've
I,
got
I had a pithy comment to add there about the issue, but then I went, no, you know what? Let's let that simmer. Just let that stink roll around.
Yes
just
and no.
just let Tyler bury himself. That's the way.
The Patreon money is going to go to a improv 101 course for everyone else on the show. So
Well, we already paid for a backflip.
Hey, that's true.
We've got Cale,
What's up? Hot dogs.
Tyler,
what's up? Impossible chicken nuggets. I just ate those before the show.
and I'm Sean. Thank you for being here with us, whether you are live or in the future. We have
Count them.
six of the week's biggest comics releases, the aforementioned Absolute Batman, topping the pull list this week. The listener pick, Green Lantern number 17, G.I. Joe number 1.
G.I. Joe.
It's all been building to this. Finally, we can talk about that comic. Power Rangers Prime number 1. The Amazing Spider-Man 61. Everybody has been clamoring for the end of the Zeb Wells era. Well, hope you like the Joe Kelly era. And Uncanny X-Men number 5. So we've got some pretty good books here today to talk about. Thank you for choosing us to be your review crew for this week. Let's get into our first book. It is, of course, Absolute Batman, written by Scott Snyder, with art by Nick Dragata, colors by Frank Martin, letters by Clayton Cowles. So the first issue was oversized. It did a lot of work to get us understanding, some of the core differences between this iteration of Gotham and Bruce and Batman, and the one we're used to, mainline. And I feel like getting all that out of the way in the first issue allowed Scott and Nick to just go balls out with this one. This issue is crazy. It's got a lot of movement and propulsion in terms of showcasing Bruce's war against Black Mask's party animals. We also get to see Bruce interacting with his friend group, who my mind immediately, when I see this friend group, my mind goes to the Sinister Six, me and the boys. That meme. This is Bruce
Yeah.
and the boys.
You talking?
And
Are you talking
so
the meme from the old Spider-Man cartoon?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Um and we get introduced finally to a very important player at the end of this issue. What'd you guys make of Absolute Batman number 2? Does it keep you as excited as issue 1?
It is my pick of the week.
It is
Um,
mine as well.
I had a lot of fun with this. I think for me, it was across the board. It was kind of a like a very even keeled week in terms of my excitement after reading the books. But Absolute Batman kept me. I think you make a good point, Sean. It's like he already got the table setting out of the way in the first issue. Which reading issue 2 makes me like issue 1 even more, if that makes sense. Because like we really do get to kind of just live in this world. The thing that I enjoyed a lot about this issue was that Dracota really gets to show off how different this Batman moves, how different the suit is. It really does not feel like a Bruce Wayne Batman in terms of the way he's fighting, the way the bat suit works. It really is kind of almost blowing my mind how maybe because I'm just so used to who Batman is and the idea of Bruce Wayne Batman that such a shift in design and the way that the suit has spikes on it He's using acid. He doesn't have a grappling gun. He climbs walls almost like Spider-Man in a way, using his like bat claws that are attached to the cape. It's very much more like an actual bat. I'm really digging that part of it, and the whole idea of it. Them building out the world here with Gordon and Bruce's mom Martha being in this actively is real interesting. I'm hooked for this one for sure.
This actually didn't do that much for me in terms of following up from issue one. I really enjoyed getting to see how Bruce plays with his friend or plays his friends for information. I thought that was really interesting and really clever for uh a look at how Bruce gets information versus how he hunts it as Batman, which I think we see a lot more often these days versus the days of like Matches Malone. Um, but everything else just sort of, I don't know, it just felt very Scott Snyder to me, and you know that's not always a flavor I'm super into, especially the Batman AF part. I thought was really contrived. Okay, Scott.
Sean, did we get the Batman AF that was revealed at Comic Con, right?
Yep.
Okay, I had deja vu reading, and I'm like, where did I find it? I felt like I read
Okay,
that before.
I don't think I'd seen that.
Yeah, we basically heard the whole issue at Comic Con, and they nearly showed the whole thing.
Yeah, I was having a lot of deja vu reading the first third of this book. I was like, I've read this before, and I
Yeah.
had to chalk it up to that. Okay, I'm glad it wasn't just me.
Go ahead, Cale.
That's it. The art I thought was it was very good. Dragota's on another level here. I also again really love the way the suit moves, and I like the different variations of the cape that we get, especially toward the end. I think that's really cool too.
You liked his stealth covering his face, almost a
Yeah,
cloak
yeah.
sort of
It's
thing.
such a cool um alternative to the draping uh curtains that he wears in the main universe.
It feels like something you would actually get from the what's the Ra's al Ghul's the League of Shadows. Like that's something
Yeah,
you'd feel like
yeah.
you'd learn from that. Yeah, and even
It
the
feels
shoulders are
very
gone at that point too.
yeah, it feels very gorilla in the type of fighting, the type of fighter, the gorilla fighter.
I said it as well. This is my pick of the week. I'm loving this Batman, man. It's it's shocking like how fresh this you can still make things feel with a character that is nearly 100 years old. Like it just blows me away. Like yes, I have read, The Dark Knight Returns and stuff and Year 1, and there are definitely elements of that. There's elements of a lot of stuff we've read. There's elements of Scott Snyder's stuff. But it just feels like the best parts of all that. And it's really exciting to me. Seeing Batman, ruthlessly and relentlessly hunting down criminals and making them scared of him because he doesn't appear to have any limits on what he's willing to do to exact justice. Obviously, we know he's not going to kill, but short of that, this Batman doesn't care. Um, and that's really fun to watch, actually. The villain group isn't like revolutionary. There's nothing too terribly exciting about them. But for his first outing and us needing to focus more on learning about him and the supporting cast, I think this is perfectly fine. Just getting to watch Batman tear shit up.
I think if there's any critique I give this book is that I do wish I knew more about Black Mask. And it's only issue 2, so it's not really a critique. Because the party animals, they're the mutants. They're any big army thing that has happened in Batman before. It's no different than the Joker gang. in their
Fodder.
function. Yeah. But we'll get there, and I'm pretty confident. Snyder has plans for Sionis and stuff like that. That bit where they find his bat cave on the top of those buildings, and even Alfred's like scared for him, but then he's like, no, he just blows it up. He's constantly one step ahead of people, and it's fun. It's fun because Alfred is surprised by him, but this character is unknown to us, so we're also surprised about what happens. So we kind of ride that trip with him.
Yeah, exactly. Like there's still room for us to be surprised by this version of Batman's um tactics and what he is willing to do and how far he's willing to go. And that's been fun. I also really like the quieter moments. I really like seeing, the dynamic between Gordon and Martha. For them to have any dynamic is pretty interesting. And then, of course, throwing Barbara into the mix. It feels like a little found family, and I'm interested to see how that develops, especially because if Martha knows Gordon, then obviously Gordon knows Bruce. And what's it going to be like the fact that he's Batman, you know?
And this Batman has friends, which is sort of new for Batman. Like Bruce Wayne has the Bat family, but they're the Bat family. He doesn't have friends really that don't know too much about him.
Well, I think it's crucial. He has friends earlier in his career
True. Yeah.
here.
But that whole dynamic with him and I can't even call them the Rogues because they're his friends is really interesting to me because like
Yeah.
I don't know what everyone knows there, and I don't think
Yeah.
the characters know what each other knows either. There's
Yeah.
almost this Cold War it feels like going on. It's like a friendly Cold War. It's like they're all are in positions of power. You can see that from where they are. Even
Mm.
Nigma is obviously a tech guy that controls something. But Cobblepot has some form of degree of control in the underworld. Harvey Dent's coming up on the legal side of things, and they make sure not to tell each other everything, but enough that there's still some um, teamwork going on. It's weird. It's almost like they're their own Court of Owls. It's like the Court of Owls idea shifted in a way. And these people are kind of have little bits and pieces with that throughout Gotham, and then they come together as this group. It's weird. It's weird. It's unusual for a Batman book, and I think it's a good little addition.
Yeah, him having friends is really interesting and cool. I'm excited to see how that's going to play out. And I feel like that scene set up, tension. It set up some things for us to look for in the future, especially with Harvey. We know that there's going to be something that goes on with Oz because he's the only one who's like really entrenched into underworld activity right now, and that's going to parlay into something in the future. So to me, issue one was like blowing the doors off and saying, "Hey, we're here" in the loudest, biggest way possible. This feels like an extension of that, especially when it comes to the action sequences. It's a lot of an aggressive expansion of what we saw in the last issue, but it's just fun, man. It's fun. Nick Dragotta is putting his whole ass into this. It's it's just cool, man.
There's that one Dracota panel that I can just visualize in my head, where he clotheslines one of the party animals, and you can see like half of the chin get chipped off when he does it, like the skull mask, and it's from this yeah that angle where it's coming from like the tip of the bat claw or whatever. It's so non traditional for what you'd imagine being in like a DC proper comic, which I think this is where the art really kind of blows it out and shows that like this is a different world.
Yeah, I agree, man. Like that whole action sequence is full of really interesting choices. Like I really like this top panel here where it's like, oh man, Batman alone against all these party animals. What's he gonna do? He's gonna fucking spike them, or I don't know. Like he's gonna. I don't even know what he's doing right here. He's giving them some like.
He's breaking the tank behind him with the spikes on his shoulders.
That's so cool, man.
Oh, as a fan of aquariums, that did worry me a bit. I was like, oh, okay, well, that's going to be horrible for the ecosystem of the aquarium. But we make do.
And Dragotta just doesn't mind putting a bunch of panels on these pages, but nothing is lost for that.
No, they all have a very specific focus. That was something I really enjoyed in the poker scene, is that everyone looks different, but they all even though it's a couple of pages of conversation, you're seeing things and there's nuance in each panel and they're all doing stuff.
Yeah.
The facial work too is real interesting for me for the Dakota work, especially during that poker scene. Um, like the Edward Nigma, he has like the Riddler question mark necklace and stuff. But he kind of looks like, I think it was either Hound or Dan said it in the chat earlier. I think it was Hound. That it's kind of like a mixture between Miller and Mazzucchelli from Year One, where I can see the influence of those styles of books in
Sure.
the art on this one for sure.
Easy pick of the week for me. I really love where this series is going. I couldn't be any more excited for Absolute Batman.
I'm trying to come up with a critique for it, and I can't really. um,
You don't
the
have to. Just wave your green flags.
I don't have any, Sean. You forgot to send them to me.
No.
Oh, it's pick of the
This
week. Yeah.
it's a solid pull for me for sure, but it didn't make my pick of the week.
Okay. That's fair. That's fair. Chat. How you feeling about Absolute Batman? I see a lot of you talking about see some people saying it's your pick of the week. A lot of people talking about how good it is. What's the vibe? Hey, Gavin Guidry, what's up, Gavin? Hey, let's say hello to a few people. We got naysayers. We got Near. Good to see you, Near. Near says need to cop this issue before it sells out. Yes, get to your stores, guys. Get to your LCS.
Is there a Justice League card this week?
No,
No. Okay.
no. They got to
That's
bring that back.
Yeah, that's done now, right?
Yeah.
Surely with the dark side card, that was the end of it.
Mm-hmm. Lucas Hallner, how's it going? Lucas says I paid $12 for a first printing on Midtown Comics Online and bought the second printing. I'm new to DC though, so I didn't know. Shame on me. Ah, bummer, man.
$12 is reasonable. I feel. I think you could have gotten shifted a lot worse than that.
I paid 25
There you go.
after I already bought one and spilled frickin' steak juice on it. Pepper steak juice. What a day.
You gotta stop drinking steak juice, Sean.
Yeah.
Doesn't do anything for you.
Silhouette, how's it going? Banksy Maine, style so serious. What's up? Marowak Oscuro, how you doing? Nick T. Nick T, what's going on, Nick? Steve Canaris, good to see you, Steve. Izzy's Issues, James Jones, Exiles, Cole. So many of you chatting at the same time. I could name so many more of you than normal. It's good to see you all here with us. And again, a lot of you really, really enjoying Absolute Batman.
One thing I want to point out that Banksy Main that we didn't talk about was that quick mention of the Red Hood resistance. So Banksy says, I
Yeah.
wonder who the Red Hood resistance will consist of. Do we get a Jason Todd that is the same age as Bruce? As like a counter?
No, stop.
I don't know. I don't really think too much about things like that because it's like an Easter egg for the future, maybe, possibly. But Scott likes to throw stuff out, and that could just be one of those things. I really don't know. It's hard to say with him. But we've got a few things to talk about before we get into the next book. Lots of fun stuff happening around here. The most important thing, the pressing thing that I want to share with the 70 plus of you that are here right now, do not go anywhere because we've got a major announcement to make. This Monday, we are going to be debuting a brand new show. Yes, that's right. We are expanding our offerings because we've heard you. We've heard a lot of you saying that as much as you enjoy Pals Pulls and you enjoy the reviews that we do on here, you want to hear us talk more about the books that are coming out this week, and give you more of our thoughts about comics, core comics. And so we are going to do that every single Monday with this brand new show where we are going to do a few things. We're going to tell you what you can expect on Pals Pulls that week, meaning the books we're going to review, we're going to reveal them there. Not only that, we're each going to spotlight a book that's not going to be in Pals Pulls. That way, you guys get to hear from us on what we're pulling outside of the show, the books we're excited about that don't make the show. And on top of all that, one of us each week will be spotlighted, and we're going to talk about any book we feel like talking about, anything that tickles our fancy right now. The spotlight will be on that person. And for the first episode, I think it's the perfect spotlight. You're gonna want to hear who it is and what they say, and I think it's a lot of fun. So make sure that you give it a listen. It's going to be dropping on Monday, and as a special offering for our channel members, we're going to put it up tomorrow, Friday, for our channel members so that you guys get first dibs, get the first crack at it. And we want you to leave your feedback in the comments section. You guys are essentially our quality assurance, our testers. You watch the video, let us know what you think works, what doesn't work, and we will iterate based on what you guys say, but it will be dropping for everybody on Monday.
Kyle So Serious asks, chat engagement 2? This will be a pre-recorded thing.
Yes.
But I think were we planning on a premiere? We don't know that just yet. So there might be.
We're probably going to do a premiere for it, and in which case some of us might be in the chat hanging out with you watching it, but it won't be. It is pre-recorded. Yep. Banksy says, "Woo, new show. Yes, I hope you watch it and I hope you enjoy it." Cole says, "Fire, thank you." Lucas Holner says, "I filled out the form. I recommend everybody does. Very helpful for the pals." Yes, yes, yes. Let me get a link to that so I can share it with y'all in the chat, because we are still looking for feedback. So we're going to share that out with you right now.
And also, thank you for everyone who's ready to give them feedback. I haven't looked through it, but I just know that people have, and they've been, putting some time out of their lives to do that. So I appreciate that.
We have way more responses this time than the last time we did it about a year and change ago. So thank you so much. Really, really helpful stuff. And I think we're already addressing some of the feedback that we've gotten. We'll talk more about that on the Saturday show, but I did just share out the document again. If you guys want to help us out by clicking that Google Doc link and giving that your time and your answers. Also, we have an announcement about the book club. We have the winning book, the winning books, if you will, because the Grant Morrison Month Book Club was won by, drum roll please. No? Okay.
No. Oh,
Batman.
What?
Oh, the drum roll for just the character we just talked about.
Yes.
On this Marvel podcast?
Can't believe it. Shocking. So we're not just going to do Batman and Son. We are going to do a little bit of a medley. We're going to go over a few of the books. We're going to do Batman and Son. We're going to do the Black Glove. Let me look up the list here. We're going to do Batman R.I.P. and
It's just those three, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it's just those three.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So that should be great. I'm looking forward to it a lot. That's going to be on the last Tuesday of the month. So on the 26th of November, you guys can expect on our channel for us to be presenting that to you. I could not be more excited because there's probably not a series that I have reread more than this. Specifically these stories. I have reread more than any other stories.
So that's funny, Sean, because I have it in omnibus form and I've never cracked them.
Oh,
I have Batman R.I.P. in flop. Like I have these in floppies too that I've given out to friends since. I've never reread it. I read it once, and then it became shelf porn.
Wow!
But this is gonna be fun for me. I kind of want a JLA, but I'm excited for this too.
Izzy and I have been talking about Final Crisis. Izzy says, "No, how is Cale going to inflict insanity upon the masses if Final Crisis didn't get the pick?" I've been thinking, don't worry, I've got plans.
That is
Ga-
ominous.
Yeah, yeah.
Gavin Guidry said Sean's homer pick. Assuming that means like my comfort pick, my sweet pick. Yes, absolutely. Like this is a book I feel like I could talk about for a long. I in fact I have in private. Like my friends will be like, "Oh, what's a good comic? What's a good Batman comic?" Excuse me, have you ever heard of Grant Morrison's Batman? Do you have an hour for me?
Speaking of, joining us on the show will be LeBron James, who has also just cracked open this comic. Did you guys see that, Sean?
Yeah, yeah, that's pretty
Uh,
Shame
hype.
you won't make it past the first page,
I'm
but
gonna make an attempt. If we can get him for the book club, I'm gonna make an attempt.
What attempt are you gonna make?
sure.
Hey, shoot or shoot, Sean.
Fuck it, why
But
not?
what attempt are you gonna make?
A pigeon carrier. I probably should try something more modern.
All right.
He's in LA, right? He's not Cleveland anymore. Man, it's gonna be a hard attempt for me.
Cosmo says so. Basically, the first Morrison Omni, or would the new trade Morrison book one work? Definitely, the first omnibus would be good. I'm not sure about the new trade release. I haven't seen it. Once I got the omnibus, I don't care anymore. Like that's it. I have it. I'm good.
I'm sure we'll post a reading order on the Discord, right?
Yeah,
Yeah. That's usually what we've been doing.
yeah.
It,
But go ahead.
it'll be Batman and Son, The Black Glove, and R.I.P.
Yep, those three stories. So, however they're best collected for you, that's the way to read them. And we will be talking about those on November 26th. All right, let's get into the next book. Let's get into Green Lantern number 17. This was the listener pick this week. Make sure that you guys vote for the listener pick in the poll, youtube.com/the comics pals. Right now, we've got the poll up. It's got Moon is following us, number 3. Exceptional X-Men number 3, Geiger number 8, and World's Finest number 33, which is stomping the poll right now. I don't even know why I bothered putting that book on the poll because it's just going to win. But either way, make sure you guys go vote at youtube.com/the comics pals.
When you have put it there, has it lost?
Yeah,
It has. Okay, got
it
it.
has. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
All right, but let's get into Green Lantern. This is written by Jeremy Adams, of course, with art by Zermanico, colors by Romulo Fajardo Jr., letters by Dave Sharp.
Oh, this is
So
ironic.
good squad there. Um, this story has definitely expanded ever since the Civil Core special because now they've integrated a lot of what PKJ was doing in the Green Lantern War Journal book because now we have the Thoros. Thoros is involved. He's resurrected, but we also have Varan, who has this incredibly dark power that came from the Revenant Queen, and he's been warring with John Stewart for some time. So the Lanterns are on the back foot right now because they've got two super powerful enemies at their door. Plus, fucking Mogo is after them, the planet. So there's a lot of bad stuff going on, which necessitates the heroes to do some hero stuff. And in this book, they most certainly do. There is a lot going on, and I feel like if you haven't been on the hook, this is not a good place to start. But Jeremy Adams has been open about that fact because he's sort of at the end. He's closer to the end of this larger story than the beginning. But I think if you've been on the hook, it pays off. I really enjoyed this issue.
I'm Go ahead, Cal.
Yeah, I also really enjoy this. And even though like I don't totally know what's going on with the politics of it all, or even, the various other rings, it's still a really thrilling issue. Um, I do feel like Adams gives enough background and enough base character information, especially in the beginning, that you have an idea of who all the players are. And I think that's really really key because once I got everything and then I saw people I recognized, I was in. And then you get the obvious massive threat of Mogo chasing Hal and John, it's like, oh, now we're on a timeline. I guess I'm caught up.
How fast can Mogo move? He had
He,
some pace to him.
he's a planet and he's a Green Lantern, so fast.
Yeah, it was pretty wild. I never realized. I never. I don't think I've ever read a story where Mogo was as active as he is here. So it was kind of
Yeah,
blowing my
yeah.
mind. Yeah.
And that's what made that's part of what made it so crazy because it this story does an excellent job of uh propulsion and it really adds to the stakes.
I'm enjoying this too. I started reading this actually from the recommendation of the Discord. Like people on Discord were just hyping this book
Uh,
up. I was reading the PKJ John Stewart book, but I wasn't reading this, and I think it was probably like in September or something like that. I caught up to it, and I was like, man, this is really good. It doesn't feel like Jeff Johns' Green Lantern, and I think that's a benefit to it actually. It feels a lot more like post Civil War Marvel Cosmic than anything,
hmm,
where there are all these different factions in space that have motives and they have these looming threats all over, and they're kind of all clashing at once, almost like a War of Kings era cosmic Marvel, which is a sweet spot for me and what I like, and I'm having a lot of fun here. I think it's pretty impressive how every lantern is in this, like even the teen lantern from Bendis's Young Justice is in this, and she's important. Sure, I think Baz kind of gets short shrift here, but he's in it.
What else is new?
Yeah, exactly. Um, but they're all here, and there's a really interesting, dynamic. But so I went from like, oh, this is a pretty good book, to seeing Sinestro be so mad he punches a crater into Mogo, and I was like, oh no, this is an awesome book. I thought he killed him,
yeah.
honestly, but I guess that doesn't. It's not a, he didn't cause. Are people living on Mogo? Hold on.
I don't
What's
think
the?
so.
That is so weird. Okay, well, Sinestro just killed a whole bunch of Mogo's white blood cells, I guess. So,
But
oh well.
He rocked Mogo. That
He
was
did.
awesome.
Like, remember like the old UFC games when like you get rocked and like your screen would go blurry,
Yeah, yeah.
I was like, ooh, I felt that one. There was the Zermatico art really added some physicality to it, and it made it rough. I was like, oh, it stopped it, but that was rough, dude.
Dude, you want to talk about fucking Zermanico? My man is doing work. I love these two pages right here where you have Alan Scott. Look at how he's like popping through the panels. That's such a cool effect. It's not unique. We see it a lot, but it's used super effectively here and here. Hopefully you guys can see that. I love this one where he's like flying towards us and he's popping through the page. It's like, damn, are you gonna fucking fly into me? Can you move? Just really great art from him. I love the way he sells emotion on a lot of these pages. The facial work is excellent. Sinestro looks tight. Look at my man's gritted teeth. Like he is angry. The zoom in, the closer we get to Sinestro, and then boom, the impact on that single page spread right there. Beautiful work.
It's great stuff, and then, like the fact that he's actually like, when's the last time you saw Alan Scott in a Green Lantern book? You know,
yeah, they rarely interact with Alan Scott in space.
yeah. And Zermatico is just drawing the classic Alan Scott costume, and it works.
Yeah,
It sticks out, but it kind of works with the realm that he's working in with like the magic unseeing guys. Um, I'm surprised at how well the PKJ stuff kind of just blended in to this main story.
Yeah. Yeah. There I mean, I'm sure there's some level of synergy that was baked in, but
yeah,
big space stuff happening. What's better to do than just add to the crazy? Like it wasn't bad enough before, just make it worse. I love it. And I'm excited to see how they're gonna defeat Thoros. This
yeah,
is fun.
yeah. And that's it. It's fun.
It's just this is like just a good big two comic.
I can't say I've had fun reading Green Lantern in the last decade.
Probably not
That's fair.
since Jeff
Yeah.
Johns, honestly. And even
Yeah.
like the tail end of Jeff's run kind of fizzled for me. Like this
Yeah.
is the most I've been having fun with Green Lantern in a long time.
Yeah. This is a super easy pull. I love this series. I highly recommend if you're sleeping on this for some reason, stop it. Wake up.
I also threw the Chris Somney variant cover on the screen, and it is freaking gorgeous. I might have to
Ooh, yeah.
make a
Wow.
trip. Oh, so good.
Benjamin Loudly says, haven't checked Green Lantern in a long time. Is Larfleeze still a thing? Yes, he made an appearance recently.
Yeah, all they're playing with the whole spectrum. And that's a massive part of it. So you're getting it all.
Lucas Hallner says, I'm new to Green Lantern, so don't know the characters, but enjoyed this issue. Been reading since All In. So you've only been reading for like 2 issues, man. And when I interviewed Jeremy, I told him, hey, you went out of your way to say this isn't a good jumping on point, but I feel like the action is so great and the art is so awesome that why not just jump in? Why not? It's fun.
And Lucas, that's how I got into comics. Just jump in, figure
Yep.
it out eventually.
Work your way back.
Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly. Lucas Hallner also says, I have bought every DC book since All In, never reading DC to see what I like, and I like it all, but my wallet can't sustain. What do the pals recommend? I love all absolute and mainline Superman. So you're asking us to do uh keep it or drop it with you, with DC's All In line of books. That's what you're asking.
Lucas's stack.
One thing I would say, keep the absolute books for sure.
Yeah.
That's where the best forward momentum is going to be, I think.
And I would
It's the newest stuff, and it will feel the most relevant and modern.
and then I would say keep Green Lantern and wait for JLU coming out.
That's not bad.
I mean, anything I tell you is going to be based around my taste. So then you'll just end up with Sean's stack. I would say, to be honest with you, man, whatever you are motivated to read when you get home from your comic shop and you open your stack and you go, oh, I got to read that. Whenever that feeling stops, that's what you drop. When I get to the bottom of my stack and I'm like, and you have to put the effort in to read it, that's what's got to go. And that's what I'm learning. You're hearing this from me, of all people.
And it's also if it's also an issue that it's in your stack, and then you just don't read it, maybe you should drop it.
Yeah.
Monstrous. Oh, sorry, a little bit of a bug coming on.
Chat said don't drop Monstrous, so I'm listening to them.
Gavin saying get his covers for JLU 4 and 5. This is news to me, Gavin. Okay.
Yep.
Oh,
We'll
that's
pre-order those right now.
I got to see that. I got to see that. Gavin showed me something really cool. I won't say what it was, but he showed me some cool shit, and it wasn't this. But yeah, Gavin's got a lot coming, man. I'm excited for what Gavin Guidry's going to do down the road. All right, let's leave DC land, and let's dive into a new number one, G.I. Joe #1. This is written by Joshua Williamson with art by Tom Riley, colors by Jordi Belair, and letters by Russ Wooten. Now, if you have not been kept up with the Energon universe, then you may not have seen the miniseries that have all essentially been leading to this. We had Duke, we had Destro, we had Cobra Commander, Scarlet, and all of those have been leading to this point, this G.I. Joe book. And right out the gate, I can tell you that was a brilliant stroke. Because if they had not done those miniseries, I wouldn't know what the hell this is or what's going on. But thankfully, I did. This book takes the varying threads that were established in each of those miniseries and simply continues them. It's got the characters who were built and established throughout. They're all here. The conflicts that they were engaged in, they're all here. And so because of that, while yes, there is still some establishing work done, and this issue doesn't leave you out in the cold if you didn't read those other books, I think it works so much better if you did. And around the time when I started to get excited was this double page spread where you've
Yeah.
got Destro on one
Yeah.
end and Duke on the other, and they're both explaining what their strategy and plan is going into this mission. Two sides of the same mission that they're both about to go on that's going to put them in head-to-head collision. That is why I bought this comic book. That's what I want to see. So I had a lot of fun. I think this was excellent for what it is and what it needed to be.
On another week, this probably was my pick of the week. I just really like Absolute Batman a lot. But this is great. I think that bit you mentioned, Sean, about how like this is really a continuation of Duke, Cobra Commander, and Destro. Not as much Scarlet. I still recommend reading Scarlet, and we'll probably get there eventually in this book. Um, but that was genius because I do not know anything about GI Joe. I couldn't have even told you who Duke was. I would have said The Rock. Is that the same character? Was he Duke?
I don't think it
I don't
is.
know.
Exactly.
I don't
This
think
shows
so.
how much I know. um, but I know like Cobra and Destro. That's the only people I know. But going into this and having it, they've built the world already. They don't really need to do the world building part of it in GI Joe 1. They can do a little bit of it because it is still number one, and you kind of have to for people who might just jump right into this. But it's not. It's much easier for me as somebody that's completely unknown to what this world is to have had read those books and really liked those books too. Um, and I had a lot of fun with this. Reading this, like there was that bit of me that's like, oh, this is going to end up bad for the Joes because I think it's more fun when the good guys are playing on the back foot a bit, um, and knowing what Destro and Cobra were up to in the Destro mini, like they're going to get screwed. So reading this, I had a lot of fun, and I think the Riley art with the Jordy Blair colors, Jordy kind of doing something similar to what she was doing in Birds of Prey, where the
Yeah.
colors kind of bleed out outside a bit, like almost like an old printing comic from, I guess, when Marvel would have printed this in a way. I loved it. I thought the art was phenomenal. I'm a Riley mark to the end.
Yeah, the massive, massive benefit that this book has is that it's built off of everything that's come before it. Williamson and everyone else did such a smart thing by building Cobra Commander and Destro, all the while building all of the other Joes and establishing this as a universe where you are going to care about every angle and you are going to feel the stakes. So when, we see Cobra Commander for the first time and he's like tweaking his machine hand or whatever, and we see him like, you know, uh, pulling on his Darth Vader helmet or whatever. And man, he points a special, the special energon laser at Destro, and those two panels, uh, he does that, and Destro says, "I'm not entertained," and it's such a a beautiful encapsulation in two panels. You know exactly what their relationship is. It was phenomenal, and then to uh cross that over, in that spread that Sean mentioned earlier, where we see it all cross over, and then we see that they're both working toward a similar goal, but Cobra's got the upper hand because they know what this stuff is. It's just this the world building and everything that's been done in the Energon universe into GI Joe is going to take the Energon universe so far.
Was this your pick of the week?
No,
Oh, okay.
I don't
Some high
even know if I
praise.
can speak this. I don't even know if I can speak this passionately about my pick of the week.
I want to pause the proceedings for just a moment to say hello to YouTube comic royalty, comic tropes, excuse me. Comic tropes, it's a pleasure to see you. It was a pleasure to interact with you in person. It's good to have you here with us in the chat. For those of you who are listening to us, if you're not subscribed to Comic Tropes for some reason, you should rectify that ASAP. Comic Tropes is a fantastic channel. One of the channels that I go to when I want to think about comics, not just read about them.
Wait, you could read them without thinking?
Yes, I've read many comics in which turning my brain off actually helped a lot. So
Oh, cool.
I needed to not be able to think.
Um,
Yeah, this was crazy good, man. Like I don't care about G.I. Joe, but I care about this. I care about this. Joshua Williamson's uh talent at injecting the character and telling us who these people are with minimal page space. Again, we've mentioned it multiple times, aided by the minis we already got. But just even in this singular issue, there's so much character work being done, and you could forget that because of the amount of action that we got. There's really great action too, but in the midst of that is some awesome character work. I really like the fight sequence towards the end. I think we talked about Tom Riley, and Tom Riley is all over this book, but the fighting at the end was just it just felt so epic and cool watching the Joes engaging in this mission, knowing that they're probably screwed, and then sort of seeing how it unfolds for them getting worse and worse and worse. And you're kind of like, all right, well, they can get out of this. Why not? They're G.I. Joe. And then you see that fucking gun, that new gun that they break out.
Yeah.
Whoa. And that's like not that big of a deal. This universe has Transformers. But these are the ground level characters. So that gun is a mighty big problem. And I'm excited to see how they deal with that.
and just the idea that like what they were protecting in that building was a part of the story we just read in Transformers. Like
Mm.
you're rewarded for investing yourselves in all of the titles in this world, which I think is really smart just the inception of the Energon universe.
Well, and to add to that, like, we see just like a glimpse of a bit of Energon that Cobra Commander has, and they've used it to make a laser. And Cobra Commander goes, "No, we're gonna get all of it." And then you go, "Oh, that's what the Transformers are fighting about." Holy shit.
Right?
And you have Void Rivals out there too. Who knows when that's gonna finally like tie in
Yeah.
fully with this? Yeah.
Yo, the Baroness causes me pain. I wanted, I guess it's a spoiler for this deck. I wanted to buy all the variants that they had of her, but I just couldn't.
Did
I
you
think
see?
there was a Panosian variant.
There were. I did not pick any of the Baroness ones to show on the screen. They looked. I didn't want to get Sean too excited for the show. I know what he's into, so I picked a Jerome Pena variant instead. But Baroness also being on the side of the Joes is like different from what I know. Like
Yeah.
she's a Cobra
Yeah.
person. So I like that little dynamic. Like honestly, I felt like at the end everyone was going to die besides Duke and Baroness. Because like I feel like there are people like that are expendable. I mean, there are characters in here that might seem like big characters to me, but maybe they aren't in the grand scheme of GI Joe. And that unknown bit of it is also fun to me because I don't really know who matters. Like I know Baroness matters, I know Cobra matters, I know Destro matters, I know Duke kind of matters too. But like all the Joes are unknowns to me, so this is there's an excitement to this book that I have.
Well, Baroness is obviously gonna turn. That's, you know, it's like that's who her character appears to be. But I like the fact that she's the wild card in this group. If you don't know GI Joe and you don't know that she's bad, then maybe you just think she's just a really a good person, deep down, and she really does have a heart of gold.
Well, the big brute guy that's with Cobra that fights rock and roll towards the end there, he's traditionally a Joe. That was also switched for the comics.
Hmm.
So I'm
All
not
right.
totally sure Baroness will stay, will turn eventually. And there's a bit of that I don't know, unknown factor that's really fun in this.
Well, and the unknown factor, but also um if the this death at the end of issue 1 is anything to go by, like anybody's on the table to be off the table, so she may not get the chance to turn.
Plus, if you have her be a Joe, you can put out a whole bunch new Baroness action figures, and I know they love doing those.
They don't make action figures for the bad guys.
I know they make plenty of Baroness.
Easy pull. This was
Yeah.
awesome. I honestly could have seen this being my pick of the week, but Batman was just too much. It was just too good. But yeah, this was excellent comics.
Yeah, that's how I feel about this too.
Yeah. This was great.
I just saw an ad while watching my own YouTube channel, so that's good. That's a good thing. That makes me feel good.
Huh.
Yeah, that's how I know that us doing this live, we're making a little bit of money. You know, those cents for watching an ad, they really add up. Be surprised.
I was going to ask what ad it was, but I realized those are personally generated, so you don't need to answer that.
And I actually don't even know what it was because I exited it out so fast.
Fair.
Saunders says Josh is so good at establishing characterization, especially in the current age of comics. Not the biggest fan of his plot points, but his characterization is always chef's kiss. Great first issue. Well, I think the good thing about the G.I. Joe is that the expectation upon on the part of the readership isn't that it's going to have some elaborate, heady Hickman-esque plot. You expect it to feel like two sets of toys bashing together, and Joshua Williamson is the exact right guy for that kind of book. He's going to do the great characterization, and he's going to set the stage for these characters to fight, which is all you really want. Now, with Transformers, I got a little tired of it after a while, but I feel like because the G.I. Joes focused more on just human characters, I'll probably be able to connect with it more on the basis of that.
And I think the thing with all of these titles and Transformers, I think specifically suffers for it is that we've been waiting for so long for all of it to tie into each other. And we've had to wait 15 issues of Transformers to get there. That's a year and a half.
Sure. Comic Tropes, being the great guy that he is, says hit the like button for the pals, folks. I endorse that. I also say hit the like button for the pals. Let's get that likes number up. Appreciate you guys for hanging out with us. Almost 80 of you here on this Thursday night. Or it could be Friday for you, or it could be Thursday afternoon for you, wherever you are in the world at the moment. Gavin Gidry says half glove emporium. So someone I got to share this. So we put out the feedback form recently, and I poured through every single response. And someone said, in response to, like, what would you want to see on our Patreon? Somebody said a higher tier, where we sell half gloves. And I thought, first of all, what business do you think we're in? We're not in the lingerie business. But second of all,
lingerie.
You say that, but we have a bra in the store.
that's not my choice. That is
We
an
still have it.
unfortunate truth.
We still have it.
It's a sports bra, right?
That is true. For those of you who do require bras, you could go to our store and grab that. But also,
And
we
you
would
should.
need a designer. We would need someone to step up and design the half gloves for our store. So we do have Gavin in the chat. So Gavin, are you ever considered doing design for, half gloves in real life? You did have to design one for Birds of Prey. We could sell it on the store.
I'm trying to decide what this will look like. This half glove.
I don't like it.
Are there little Shawns on each finger?
No. Please not.
Sean's kink isn't himself. It's just seeing
a
peak of palm.
But what's the benefit? What's the comics pals of it?
I think the whoever did that anonymous form wants us to just corner the market entirely.
And they're right to do so, but we got to talk it out. We got to talk the plan.
We got to do this first because the U.S. is not in the textiles industry. We're going to have to hit those tariffs soon, and it's going to be a little pricier. So we got about a month and a half to figure this out.
Lucas Hallner says the half glove talks remind me of the New Mutants cover with Madeline Pryor I sent in the Discord months ago. Well, Lucas, why don't you run that one back, huh? How about that? Let's see that again. Let's talk about Power Rangers Prime #1, written by Melissa Flores with art by Michael Ying, colored by Fabi Marquez, letters by Ed Dukeshire. Now, I have dropped off the Power Rangers long, long time ago, years ago. So I haven't been kept up. I know that Melissa Flores recently ended the current era of Power Rangers books, and Prime feels, well, I don't know if this is true or not, but it feels like, an offshoot, like a side thing. And so it introduces us to a very, very different version of Earth where the Altarians, which are the people who Zordon, his people, they came to Earth to help save Earth from an invading force. But then they realized, oh, we can run this. We don't need to go anywhere. We're going to hang out here and occupy this world. And the Power Rangers were the force of good on Earth who, were trying to beat back this force, but they failed at that. So now the Altarians took over and the Power Rangers are on the run. And there's not a lot of Power Rangering in this book, but despite that, I'm on the hook for this story. I actually had quite a bit of fun with this. It's not what I expected, but I had fun.
Yeah. Um, Not what I expected is definitely the right way to address this. I was not expecting uh boy, any any of this. um some I read somewhere that it's sort of an ultimate absolute style new version of the Power Rangers. And that, that makes it a totally new uh entry into the Power Rangers verse, which is rad, because it's suffering. But boy, unlike Green Lantern, where I was dropped in and I immediately felt part of the action and part of, the world, and I felt like I really knew what was going on. Boy, I like it took me a while and some deep reading to figure out what was happening here. And I'm not totally upset by that. I'm still sort of on the hook. I mean, listen, especially when I saw the VR troopers. Are you kidding me?
Yo,
Does that mean we're one step closer to Beetleborgs?
Yeah, that's exactly what that means.
All right, you might have me there.
I'll lose
Uh
my
the
shit if we get the Beetleborgs.
the superhuman samurai cyber squad, Mass Rider, man. Uh couldn't believe I saw the VR troopers. I It's wild to think that in this the year of our 20 the this the year of our Lord 2024, we're getting VR trooper comic books.
They look cool too.
Yeah.
Yo, they sure did.
Um I like our main character. I really like I really like that this blonde girl from Power Rangers Samurai is getting sort of a second chance, because that was just uh, uh abysmal season of Power Rangers. And she's getting like a second life in the comic books. She was a big deal in the Power Grid, the big event um we read on the show
The
years
Shattered
ago.
Grid.
That's the one. Um this was fun, and you can kind of see like the kernels of a new team being formed, but there was a lot here and a lot of world building that was being done. I don't know if I would say this is a good issue of Power Rangers. No, sorry. I don't know that this is a good jumping on point for Power Rangers.
Would you say it was a good issue of Power Rangers?
There aren't any Power Rangers in it. It's tough. That's tough. I don't think I would judge that. No, no, I don't think I would.
Okay.
There are no Power Rangers in it.
So I guess I'm the least familiar with Power Rangers here. That's fair to say,
Definitely.
right? Yeah.
Shame.
Um, and I didn't like this. this. This wasn't for me. I don't think it's a jumping on point if you're unfamiliar with Power Rangers. I was confused thoroughly.
Yeah, yeah,
I was familiar with the VR Troopers just as a concept because I liked Beetleborgs as a kid. You know, I was like, oh, what are the Saban things? Um, but I this did nothing for me. It was just it was a little bit too like it didn't have enough of the familiar aspects of Power Rangers that I'm used to in this. But I
yeah.
guess it still had a school. It still had, you know, young people being young, but they're not Rangers yet. So like I don't know. I just there was the whole premise of the Altarians and, you know, taking over Earth. I felt like I was thrown in the middle of something that I had no idea where it was. So
Yeah.
I was lost. Like I didn't know that's the race Zordon was. I didn't know Zordon was blue. Is he blue normally?
Yep. Yep.
See, I don't know that.
Yep.
I thought he was a projection in a jar. So it was confusing to me, and by the
Two things
time,
could be true.
I guess, um, it was confusing, and there wasn't enough action to kind of take me out of the confusing bits, and at least let me enjoy that.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, and I wish there was more Power Rangers. And then I think that's Rita Repulsa at the end. Is that that
Yes.
is
Yeah.
okay? I had to do literally 10 minutes of googling to figure that out, which is
Uh,
bad.
the big thing is that she says, exactly what she says when she lands,
Right.
after so many years I'm free. The only way it could be different is if she says after 10,000 years I'm free. Her garbage can lands
Oh,
in
that's
the
her garbage
alley and
can.
she crawls. Yeah. Yeah,
See,
yeah, yeah.
I don't recognize that
Well,
enough. Yeah.
I guess I'll say I don't know if it's our Rita Repulsa or if it's a different one. That remains to be seen, but it's Rita.
Well, this is like ultimates. This is an ultimates type thing,
Right.
right? So it's Rita from this universe. And I feel like if you have any cursory familiarity with Power Rangers, you see somebody coming out of a dumpster, you see them say after many years I'm free. That's Rita.
That doesn't ring a bell to me. That shows how little I know about Power Rangers.
Fair. Um I don't know. I'm not sure why I liked this because I agree with everything you guys said, but I also had fun.
Yeah.
Knowing now that it's intended to be an ultimate style thing, Chad is saying that they pitched it that way. Then with that in mind, I feel like this is kind of strange because that suggests to me that this should feel like a great place for anyone to come. And if you're making a place for anyone to come, it should feel as familiar as possible while feeling unfamiliar. Look at the absolute books. No one who's read Wonder Woman is going to go into Absolute Wonder Woman #1 and be like, I don't get this. Like you're going to get it. It's Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I feel like this isn't necessarily that.
It's too daunting to have to introduce your entire young cast and a world spanning, universe spanning conflict and also tell us who Power Rangers are in the same first issue. I think they bit off a little too much more than they can chew in this.
Yeah. Yeah.
There should have already been a team. That's my thought. Because the first issue doesn't give you the team of Rangers, and they're probably not just going to suddenly form in the second one. So how long are we going to take? It's called Power Rangers.
One of the comments I always see on the YouTube is that people hate when there's a cover that misrepresents what's in the book. Like the ranger that's on the cover of this, we do not see. I think it's maybe the samurai ranger, and this is a new costume
Yeah.
she eventually gets.
Yeah.
But like we don't see this.
Yeah. When?
Yeah, issue 3. I don't know. And by the
I
pacing too,
just
like I can't even see a team in issue 2 either.
Yeah, I feel like going into the Eltarans in issue 1 is just that's already way too deep in the paint.
And who are the other aliens that are there?
So then you have the Eltarans are obviously Zordon. You have I believe I saw the alien ranger race, the Aquatarans, that's what it is. Um and I believe there was another one, but I didn't recognize them.
So well, before we give our thoughts, what do you guys think about the art? Because I thought the art was real good.
Yeah, I did think it was good. I it felt busy in places. I'm even just looking at the pages where our red samurai ranger is in the apartment, where she's hiding out with Orion. And it just like even within the apartment there, it looks like there's just a lot going on in the environment, even though it's an apartment.
Yeah.
It just it's busy. And I don't know if that's necessarily good or bad.
Yeah, the art was fine for me. Sorry, I just Googled what Aquatarans look like, and this is the most idiotic costume piece I've ever seen. They just have Mojo Jojo heads, like their brains are their heads. Sorry, it's
Guess
Power
so.
Rangers, I
Yeah.
guess. The art was fine. I think busy is the way I would describe it too. It seemed like a lot of extraneous things there for no reason. That then just kind of clogged up the books, especially in the scenes that were indoors. Um, it was fine though. Nothing blowing my socks off, but I didn't dislike it.
I really like the facial work, like this panel right here, very expressive. I appreciate that. The style feels like it's leaning almost more toward I don't know. I want to say it's got a manga influence to it, which makes a lot of sense for the Rangers. I would like to see it get a little wilder in the future. I feel like the panel layouts are fairly straightforward, and I think that there could be more dynamicism there, but it's hard to judge because nothing happens
Yeah.
for Michael to kind of go wild on. So it's going to take time. I'm not sure what the final verdict will be on Michael's art, but I have a feeling that this issue doesn't play to his strengths. That's my guess.
Yeah. But it does also feel similar to the art that came from any given Power Rangers book that we've already had. Like it definitely feels like it fits within the Boom Power Rangers house style, if you will.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, I'm going to pull, but I don't know how long I will pull for.
That was a single green flag. That wasn't a double.
No. Yeah, just a single.
Yeah, I also am gonna pull. I'm on the hook for this. I'm interested to see what they do. Um, I would like to see some progression soon.
Sean, do me a favor, throw up a red flag for me.
You got it. I assume that's a pass for you.
Sean's
Wow.
giving this a red. He just gave it a green. Why would you?
Wow.
Do...
Okay.
No, no. So this was, yeah, it's a red flag for me. It's just not my bag, baby.
All right. Fair enough. Fair enough. Let's see. Hey, Izzy, can you tell me what you thought of this issue? I would love to hear, like, did you enjoy it? Because clearly you're a big fan of Power Rangers. I just don't have a frame of reference for the comics for the last, I don't know,
5 years.
6 years, five
Yeah.
years, something like that. It's been a while. It's been a while.
Izzy did say that the most beautiful part of Power Rangers is that most of the time their practical costumes are like Star Trek Twilight Zone levels of bad.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sure.
Oh man. Uh, Cosmo says Melissa Flores was at my shop signing copies. She pitched it to me as absolute Power Rangers. Really cool experience, regardless of how the comic read to me after the fact. Hmm.
And that's, yeah, I guess that's sort of what I'm on the hook for here. I'm interested to see how that'll work. And especially when the basis of the grid itself spans like multiple dimensions, like each Power Rangers universe is in its own dimension. So the fact that the Samurai Ranger can be here and, like, for me, she can feel like an anchor character into something I feel like I know, uh plays, and it makes a broader mystery that I think, could work for an absolute title.
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough. Like, certainly, I wouldn't say that this feels as good as any absolute book or
Hmm.
ultimate
Hmm.
book that we've got. So it's like,
I would say
you
as good.
know,
I would say as good as Ultimate X-Men.
I'm not going to argue with you on that.
Shoot for a reaction, really.
I'm,
I think the guy that would have reacted to it isn't here. So
yeah, you're not going to get an argument from me. Izzy says, no matter what, I'm going to have to stay on the hook for this since we have meticulously collected all of Boom's Power Ranger books. Would you
Yes.
recommend someone do that? Like, is it that hot? Because I fell off. Like, all right, I get it. They're Power Rangers or kids with attitude, whatever. Like, are they that good?
Man, who did it? Must have been BJ, because I don't watch any other comic book YouTuber, but I think it was BJ said that the Power Rangers comics make Power Rangers feel cool. You know, like it's Power Rangers, right? Which is already kind of silly, but then like it makes it modern and relevant. So it feels like a superhero comic book and a
Hmm.
cool one. I'm with that. I quit collecting because it was just another ongoing that I just like I didn't feel like I could keep going. But I've never not wanted to read it, you know?
Yeah. Um, Style So Serious asks a good question. Never been a Power Rangers fan, but does the IP translate well as a comic? I think so. From what I
Yeah.
read, I think so.
Yeah. I would highly recommend the Shattered Grid event because it does stuff that uh you want Power Rangers to do in like the massive um crossover episodes where every ranger ever is in it. It gives them something to do and a cool villain to fight, and it's rad. If like the it's like the first 2 or 3 volumes of the main Power Rangers title. Highly recommend it.
Beautiful. Chop Harder Alchemist says, jumping in to help pump up numbers. I'll catch this rewatch tomorrow after I read my books. Love you guys. Love the Pals verse. Love you right back, brother man. Thank you
yeah,
so
Champ.
much.
thanks for pumping us.
Says, get those likes up. I agree with that. All right. Let's go to Marvel Land. Let's go to Marvel Land. It's a fun, wild place. Quite like the world outside your window. You never know what's going to happen. Um, you know, you go to sleep hating Zeb Wells' run with Ed McGuinness and Junior, and then you wake up and now it's Joe Kelly's run with Ed McGuinness and eventually Junior. Except now, the Amazing Spider-Man is dealing with Doctor Doom. Doctor Doom is the antagonist for this bit of the Amazing Spider-Man story. This issue kicks off the Eight Deaths of Spider-Man arc. It's written by Joe Kelly with pencils by Ed McGuinness, Mark Farmer on inks, colors by Marcio Menez, and letters by Joe Caramagna. I'm pretty sure the only person from that team who's different than the last one is Joe Kelly. Um, This issue basically just establishes that Peter is going to be working for Doctor Doom. He's got this sacred mission that Doctor Strange, as the Sorcerer Supreme, used to tackle, where he faces these 8 different Sidorak agents or whatever, and he dies just about every time, but that's okay because he has this thing that allows him to resurrect. And Doctor Strange would always do it because he took that responsibility, but Doctor Doom is too busy. So he has chosen Spider-Man to be his avatar and stand in for this and empowered him to go and fight these beings. We see him tackle one in this issue, and we presume that the rest of this run will deal largely with that. How do you guys feel about the intro issue of the Joe Kelly era?
Well, Cale's sneezing, so I'll go for it. I thought it was gorgeous. I love Ed McGuinness is probably top 10 for me. I love Ed McGuinness as an artist. And the bits here where he actually gets, have some fun. There's that one page where Spider-Man's outside of a window with this guy named Kevin and this character called Burnout. And it's just great, quick snapshot, and the fight scene towards the end with this one of the agents of Citrak, which great Marvel cut there, fantastic. And that new suit, it's fucking cool. I don't care what people say. That is an awesome new suit. The scarf, loved it. It felt like a Spider-Man manga or sorry, manga. Looked great. Story. This felt of a time. It felt like a Spider-Man comic of a time that I am no longer interested in reading. It it just felt like here's a premise that I can do 8 issues on, and each issue is kind of cookie cutter. It felt like a cookie cutter tray, really. It's like here's the you look forward to for the next 8 issues. And it didn't excite me. I thought the story was fine. Doctor Doom is Sorcerer Supreme now. Yeah, we know that. That'll be a big thing come next year. And he wants to kind of pass off this tedious task to Spider-Man because he doesn't view him as anything important, but competent enough to do this task, which is fine, but it's not interesting to me. It's like, all right, every new issue, Spider-Man's going to be fighting another agent of Citrak, I guess, with maybe a new way he has to figure out how to get past this, and then he probably dies. It didn't sell me for the run. Looked great, but I'm not sold.
This was my pick of the week.
Stop it.
I really enjoyed this. I really enjoyed this. If you are going to saddle me with burnout loser Peter Parker, I need him to be doing something then other than being a burnout loser. And to me, this was it. This was fun. I really enjoyed the couple of pages where we get to see Peter Parker's life and have that juxtaposed with him fighting burnout, which is wildly appropriate. And then the introduction of Doctor Doom and this whole concept I thought was really fun. He turns it down, he rejects the call, and then he's such a loser. He goes to talk to Spider Boy about his problems, and Spider Boy's just like, "I'm 10."
Dude, that was a jump scare seeing Spider Boy. I'm sorry.
I know, yeah, same. But then you get into this conflict, and it to me it shows like the exact opposite of everything we've seen from Peter Parker. uh we've seen the opposite for Spider-Man. Like Peter Parker is always going to put his uh best foot forward as Spider-Man, and his life is going to suffer for it, but Spider-Man is always going to get the job done no matter what. And I just it worked. I don't know, it worked for me. I really enjoyed it. There were bits and pieces that I didn't enjoy. I literally just saw it on the oh, Sonder, yeah. The Timu joke was the only good thing in this book. Well, I disagree with that. And then the Insta ad or whatever, I there were bits and pieces that I think are going to age poorly, especially those little references to like modern culture. But I really enjoyed this. I like it when Spider-Man is put in these weird situations, um, and he's got to figure his way out.
I thought this was super okay. I really love Ed McGuinness. I think Ed McGuinness is one of the best Spider-Man artists ever. We did get a little, like, I don't know if you want to call it an interlude, but a little piece that wasn't done by him, that was actually done by Nico Henriken.
Oh
And
yeah,
that
yeah,
was
yeah.
cool. Yeah, this stuff here where we're learning about the
Nico
whole
Henrikon.
Cyttorak
That's
stuff.
Nico did that. Did he do that line book with Brian K. Vaughan?
Oh, yeah. I think
Pride.
the Pride. I don't remember who was on art, but it could have been him.
Oof.
Um, I agree with the idea that this premise is very like, who cares? It almost feels like the kind of thing that in another era would have been a miniseries. In 2009, 2010, this would have been a miniseries. They wouldn't put this in the main Amazing Spider-Man book.
I I feel like it fits right in the JMS era.
Hmm.
Maybe why I like it.
Just because like it's so singularly focused and it feels like it doesn't leave a lot of room for interesting things to happen outside of just this Sidorak deal. So if you don't care about that, good luck for the next few issues. And I don't think I do care about that. Like, I'm sure the ultimate point is, Spider Man is in fact competent, but I already know that because I'm buying Spider Man comics. So it just feels like Doom big leaguing Spider Man, which is fine because he big leagues everybody. But now I have to pay $4.99 to watch him go on this quest. I don't know if I care to. There was a really awesome moment though, like one that stood out for me across this comic to make this a part of why I'm not, just done with this book. And it's after getting cut up into ribbons, watching Peter resurrect and seeing him come back to life and his skin not being on his body and him sort of restructuring in the moment. That was a very Wolverine type of page that you normally don't see with Peter, and that made me feel for him because that's not his world. Wolverine goes through that. It sucks. It's horrible to look at, but it's like Wolverine's, he's died more times than I've been alive. But for Spider-Man, this isn't what he typically goes through. So I felt for him in a lot of ways. And then Doctor Doom at the end tells me that this is going to become a team up in a bit. And I don't know if I care for that. So I'm middle of the road on this.
Honestly, I'm more interested to see what Justina Ireland has coming up because she's doing this arc as well with Joe Kelly. I think she does. She shows up in like 2 issues to write with Gleb Nelkinov. So even the Joe Kelly run isn't fully Joe Kelly; it's split. Um, I don't know. I just felt like the one thing that I always like about Spider-Man books is like they're not laugh out loud funny, but there are bits that are funny. And I felt like all of the funny bits in this just fell flat for me. And I feel like if you can't nail that for Spider-Man, then it's not really my bag.
There were a couple of laughs for me, but
Yeah,
probably more misses than hits.
yeah. I thought that other than the Timu and the Instagram thing, I think they worked for me. So
Um, I I I'm gonna pull, but can I get this flag? Yeah, I'm gonna put this flag at half mast.
It's because
This is not a
Peter
hard
died.
pull.
You got to put
yeah,
it at
that
half
book
mast when
already
Peter
died.
dies. Yeah.
Oh, well. Yeah, I mean, there just wasn't a lot here for me to be excited about. And McGinnis art is great, but Joe Kelly didn't nail it for me. I will not continue to read this if I feel the same way after two more issues.
Here's the thing. I didn't care much for this issue. It's still a pull for me because I have read every single issue of Amazing Spider-Man since I've started reading comics. I'm the guy that we talk about that will keep reading the book even if I don't like it. It's a perennial pull for me. It's Amazing Spider-Man. I am a cuck for it, I guess.
Okay. And for Cale, it was the pick of the week. So there you go.
Pick of
What
the
a
week.
flip.
Somebody said they liked a wide range of opinions on the show, and there you go.
You never know what you're going to get around these parts. Nick T says, at least it's not Wells. Well, did you enjoy the book? Did you have fun with this comic? Did you read it?
Luna says the writing is so bad, none of the dialogue worked. Probably the worst Spider book I read in the last 5 years, which is interesting because the internet has a lot to say about the last 5 years.
Indeed. Lucas Holner says, I think this arc is just to get them through One World Under Doom. Then we will get a new number one with an all new creative team. Well, I don't know about a new number one.
It does feel like transitional champion, to use like a wrestling term. Like, let's give this
And they
team a shot, and there's this arc that they do, and then we'll announce, big team. Somebody threw Chip's name out there. I would love to see Chip on Spider-Man proper.
yeah, Lowe sort of says something similar to that in the back matter. He says anyway, rather than jump immediately into the next era, I like how we did the Beyond storyline between Nick Spencer et al. And Zeb Jr. et al. And I wanted to do that again. So that's essentially what he's saying here is that's what this will be.
And we called that from the moment this announcement was made. It's obvious that Joe Kelly is not the guy that Marvel is hitching their wagon to for Spider-Man.
Yeah.
But it will be very interesting when we find out who is going to come on full time. Pete Collins of the Bardic Versus says Chip would kill it on ASM. Yeah, he probably would. And he is back in the Marvel fold, so that could be the case. I could see that. Atomic Hound says the appropriate flag for ASM is the white flag, as in we give up. No. That's coming from the guy who bought Catwoman and Harley Quinn, which were both, you according to you yourself, they were both radioactive, meaning that if you picked up a comic, if you picked up one of them, you might be taking years off your life. So don't talk to me about waving red flags or white flags, buddy, because I've never seen you wave a white flag yet.
Hound's not a quitter. That's why.
Exactly. Flo Dameron with the $4.99. Thank you, Flo. Super chats are indeed open. We are late in the game, but it's never too late to support your boys. Flo says they still make ASM. Too busy reading USM.
Yeah, more like USM.
Well, you are reading USM, but are you looking at Marco Cicchetto art? Oh, no. Oh,
Damn.
For the cover, we are.
oh. What a bummer.
It's weird because there's so many Spider-Man books out right now. We have Amazing, we have Ultimate, we have Spider Society, we have Spider Boy, we have Spider-Man, we have Miles Morales Spider-Man. There's probably more. Spider Gwen. But there is nothing that is really getting me excited for the character right now. Like even Ultimate, it started off excited, but I'm kind of not into it anymore. And that's kind of a bummer, honestly. I'm like, it's a weird world that I live in where I'm more excited for DC Comics as a whole than I am for Spider-Man books, which is just uncommon for me.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm not excited. We are everything I was into has ended. So, now I guess I can join everybody else who's been on the outside looking in. But who knows? This is one issue in. We'll see. We will see. Things can always improve. Banksy Main says, we thought Chip would kill it on Batman. I do like a good amount of his run, but I wouldn't say it's amazing. I think Chip's relationship and connection to Spider-Man is different than Batman, and he's proven to us that he understands the character via Spider Shadow, which I thought was really good, and the life story.
Life Story is the best Spider-Man story I've read this past decade. I think it's phenomenal. Flo Dameron though has the solution.
Funny though, because I did not like Spider's Shadow or Life Story.
Oh, okay. Flo Dameron says, "I know what to do. Absolute Spider-Man.
Hmm.
Sure."
Spider-Man Prime?
No, no. I think we just have to wait and pray for Marvel to announce a really hot creative team for the next era. Cole says, should have read Black Lightning. I thought this was a DC pod. Well, you thought wrong, brother. We do it all around here.
Did you pick up Black Lightning, Sean? I did. I just haven't gotten to it yet.
I can't answer that.
Oh,
What are you
nah,
thinking?
I almost got him.
I'm not gettable. Marowak Escuro says Chip already did a long run on Spectacular, even winning an Eisner. All the more reason for him to return to the character on the flagship book, hopefully raise his stock up again and raise up the stock of ASM. That's what can happen when you pair creators who belong on the books with the books they belong on.
And to bring Howard the Duck back as a supporting character for Spider-Man.
There's one person on the planet who wants that.
Huh. Back is
And if there
interesting.
isn't, I'm dead.
All right. We've got one more book on the docket here, and that is The Uncanny X-Men. This is written by Gail Simone, art by David Marquez, colors by Matt Wilson, letters by Clayton Cowles. So we saw that the Sarah character was kicking X ass last issue. She tore Wolverine up, and she has defeated Rogue in the opening pages of this. We see more of their conflict. Rogue takes inspiration from Harvey, the mutant boy who died in an earlier issue of this, but he didn't really die, but he sort of did. It's weird. It's X-Men stuff. Meanwhile, the rest of the X-Men are in a big battle with some evil dudes who are doing evil dude stuff. This comic is not about any of that. It's really just about Rogue's inner conflict and coming to terms with how she'll probably always be an outsider. There's the bit with her trying to give up her accent, trying to go to a speech therapist to
Yeah.
get rid of her accent.
She went to Buffalo for it too. Red flag.
I would wave it if I wasn't holding this comic in my hands. How do you guys feel about Uncanny X-Men 5 issues deep?
Out of the X-Men team books, I think it's my favorite.
Yeah.
This one was I liked it. I liked this issue. I thought the Harvey of it all was a little confusing, and it kind of felt like Harvey Ex Machina. Um,
Yep.
but there was enough character work with Rogue that at least that plot, that A plot, was enough for me to be like, all right, whatever, it's fine. You just need her to get a. This is somebody that she can talk to, so she can be more sure of herself. Like I understand the point of it, but for the plot of it all, like giving her like, oh, she's just not dead anymore, and she can heal her arm. Like that was it's a bridge too far for me. But I like the message it gave Rogue, and it kind of is giving Rogue an identity for herself as a leader. I really like the bit where the other guys are, defending this house with some people who can't defend themselves, and how the young people kind of the young mutants band together. Some really cool bits there. Freaking Juggernaut horse. Yeah, I'm cool with that. I want to know more about this horse girl. Like, there's enough interest for me for those young characters that I'm curious. And then the idea
Only time that's ever been said.
oh no, I see a horse girl on a dating app, I swipe right. I got questions.
Oh boy.
Um, I like the idea of Gambit also grabbing somebody's Pokemon card collection and using that as weaponry. I thought that was a good bit. Yeah, I thought this was pretty good. Gale is somehow making me like Gambit slowly but surely, and it is confusing and it feels wrong, and I don't like that. But I do like the book, and I think the David Marquez art is some work that I feel like he's never done before. I don't mean that like in that he's doing the greatest work of his career right now. But it's the most different I've seen his work. Some of the facial work is minimal but expressive at the same time. And I don't know. I got a lot of thoughts on David Marquez stuff when we get to it.
But then he's going whole hog on
Sure.
like Rogue's face.
Ooh, okay. Hold on. You want to rephrase that one? That's a
Nope.
big. Okay. All right.
Yeah, I am not falling for Gail Simone's trick of making Gambit likable because it's not working. Still like Gambit, never will like Gambit. Suck it. This was a great issue though. I of the 5 we've read, I think this might be the weakest for me. But I think maybe because of the Harvey of it all, I just like that felt like a weird addition. And Harvey X Machina is the perfect way to put it. Especially just, watching having watched Sarah Gaunt just absolutely trounce Rogue, and then just all of a sudden she's back and better. It's like, what? Come on. Because I've been really enjoying it. And it's just one of those things where, the end of the question, it's the answer to the question. Whoa, how are they going to get out of this one? It's not always, the answer's not always as exciting as the journey. But yeah, this is still just the best X book that's out here.
Yeah, I really this was this exemplifies how I think I feel about this story, this Gail Simone Marquez 5-issue run, which is the emotionality, the dialogue, it's all crisp, it's all good. The art is excellent. It's David Marquez. What do you expect? But the actual plot is just not hitting for me. And the Sarah Gaunt character, who has been the antagonist so far, this issue reveals that she's kind of like just nuts. And I didn't really care about that. She told Professor Xavier she was pregnant, and that was supposed to be this big, thing. And then she just wasn't. She just
Yeah, it just wasn't true. It was just a lie.
like, okay, that's not. If Professor X were in the book as a character in the story, then sure, because maybe people could judge him and they could say, how could you? She had your baby and you weren't there. Like, there's no way for me to build a bridge to my care because Professor Xavier's not in this book. So why do I give a damn about this lady? She can't threaten him. He can't interact with her. That's all irrelevant. And then, she has Rogue dead to rights, and the memory of Harvey. This kid is God. He resurrects her. He heals her hand. Like, what could he not do? And it was like, she's like, well, my hand is has been severed. What am I gonna do? And he's like, oh yeah, also I can heal. Oh, okay. Can you make sure that my breakfast is ready tomorrow? Can you get me a well done steak after I'm done with this podcast? Like, what can you
No
not
way.
do?
Come on.
Rogue is not asking for a well done
No
steak.
way.
I'm sorry.
Come
It's
on.
me talking.
It better be.
So in a way, Harvey Ex Machina had his own Deus Ex Machina too. It's like, but wait, there's more.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that rubbed me the wrong way, but everything else is fantastic.
I think Pete Collins actually makes a really succinct way of just explaining this. He says the dialogue is great, the art is great, the overall story is just okay. Two greats out of a three, a three, 2 out of 3 is probably not that bad.
Well, the plot problem is something that will hurt the book in the long run. There has to feel like there's some forward momentum. There has to feel like there's a point to all of this and a destination. And right now I can't see it.
Don't worry, we got a crossover coming up in like 2 issues.
Well, but I think that'll be to the benefit at least of this book. and maybe to adjectiveless X-Men, because then at least that book will get a direction.
Yeah. Marquez, man. Marquez. What a brilliant artist. Like this panel right here was one of those that really worked for me, where
Yep.
Rogue's eyes just pop open. And again, you talk about facial work and expression. What's coming out of that panel? You can feel the fear, you can feel the shock. Like, did I just die? Did I just wake up dead? I've
Right.
had that feeling before. I know what she's feeling in that moment.
Ooh, I really want to expand upon that, but I won't. Um, I think some of the fight scenes Marquez does is really good too. Like there's that one bit where they're surrounded. I think the young people are surrounded, and there's just like this almost like a drone shot. It's like just over the shoulder above the crowd, and it's kind of at this like angled view during the fight scene that I really enjoyed. Um, and the characters are it's almost a much thinner line Marquez is using here. I don't know if that's a Marquez thing or that's the
Yeah.
inker, but it's a lot thinner and it's not typical to what I remember from like Civil War II.
And a lot of the colors are flatter. There's not so much shadow happening all over the place. I'm looking at the Nightcrawler panel at um I don't know, any given Nightcrawler, I guess, but um there's just not so much shadow in especially in the battle scenes.
I forgot Jubilee was a part of this team. I was like, oh shit, Jubilee.
Ugh,
Where'd she come from?
the only person worse than Gambit.
Wow.
Do you like
Oh
the
my
X Men,
God.
dude?
All this is the best X-Men book, and none of my favorite X-Men are in it.
So, all right, Cale. So, what is the best roster of 6 X-Men for you personally?
How
For a
many
book you
times
would
have we done
enjoy?
this? Cyclops, Wolverine, Emma, Storm, Beast. How many is that?
5?
5?
Yeah.
Kitty Pryde.
All right. I
Astonishing
like it.
X Men.
Gene wasn't
Yeah,
on that.
yeah, I know.
I mean, it's not a dig at you. I mean, that's a good ass team, but
I almost said not Gene.
Why'd you put Gene on that? You don't even like
I
Gene.
didn't. I did. Did I say Gene?
you didn't
I
say
never
thought you
Gene.
said
did.
Gene.
No, I think you
No, I
just
said Emma.
yeah.
Oh,
He literally said the astonishing lineup. I think, besides armor and Colossus.
wow. Okay.
That's
All
Gene
right.
that's a
stinks. I would never put Gene on a.
Freudian slip there, Sean.
He heard Emma and went, "Yeah, Gene."
Yeah,
Which is what
genuinely. Where
Cyclops
did I
does.
hear Gene?
I don't know.
Did no one say Gene for real?
You said Gene
Yeah,
first.
no one said Gene. Like I was sitting here making myself not go, not Gene, and so I said Emma.
Wow. All right.
Genuinely, never said it.
I'm confused, but it's me. Clearly, I got Gene on the brain.
I'm
Apparently.
not confused. That tracks for you, Sean.
Yeah,
Oh man. Yeah, I green flag it. I'm still on the hook. I still think it's the best of the X books, but to be really honest, I don't feel like that's saying a ton right now. I think Gail Simone is cooking with the team. I love the dynamic between characters. That's all been great, but I just need a little more plot. And I would be willing to accept the idea that she's being held back because they do have this crossover impending and the sort of framework of the X world is not quite set yet. So I'm just going to be hopeful that after the crossover, she'll be able to really sink her teeth into something a little bit bigger on the plot scale.
yeah. This is just the intro arc to what this book is gonna be.
Yeah.
It's a pull for me. I'm enjoying it enough.
Yeah, pull.
Gavin says Nightcrawler, Wolverine, Gambit, Jean were all enough for me to be excited about this book when it was announced, but Jean's not on the book.
Yeah, I have bad news, Gavin.
I wonder if Gavin
I
had a
wish
Sean
she
moment there.
was. What? Yeah, unless he was having. He meant Rogue.
No, he said not Jean. He meant Emma.
All right, I'm
All
confused.
right, I think Cale's having a Cale moment now.
Izzy says Sean is actually Scott Summers. I very much wanted to be when I was a kid. He is one of the few comic book characters that I actually have dressed as before.
Which iteration?
I mean, this was when I was a kid in the 90s for Halloween, so the
Okay,
animated show.
cool.
What'd you use for the visor?
I don't
The
think I
gem, the
had a
gem of
visor.
Citrak. Duh.
I wonder if I've got any pictures from that era. Probably not. We weren't a picture taking family, but
Huh. Interesting.
Atomic Hound says, is this going to read good as a trade?
Interesting. I would say maybe better than issue to issue because you'll remember who's doing what and why it's important. Every time I pick this book up, I go, "Oh yeah. Oh right. Yeah, 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 yeah. Oh, I definitely remember that. Who's this? Oh, right.
I'm with you.
Yeah,
Like,
I think it'd be a decent trade.
I think it'll be a fine trade, but there's just not a lot of meat on the bone. Again, like if you love the characters, then you're gonna get a lot out of what Gail Simone does with the characters. Their interplay and stuff is all really great. But again, if plot matters to you, there's not a lot to come by here.
It's not, yeah, it's not gonna blow your socks off, but it's a again, it's the best X-Men book that's out right now. So, you know, it might be worth it.
Chad is making fun of the fact that my camera's very out of focus right now. Gavin says, funny to say you weren't a picture taking family while your webcam is hella out of focus. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do.
Sean's image, Dan says Sean's image is hazy. Is it the camera or just a memory / stream? He did the old classic movie technique. He just put some Vaseline around the lens. That'll do it.
You said Vaseline, and I was like, what are you about to say?
Started thinking about Jean again.
Oh my God. You guys don't understand something. It's not about that with Jean. She's an amazing person. Like I love her, but like, who she is on the inside.
Bro, Sean.
Oh, come on. Look, we just read a comic book where Spider-Man came back to life and we could see his insides. These things, this is comics.
Completely
We can see
different.
things like that. It's not out of bounds.
Completely different.
All right. Dex Baker says Sean is dreaming about Jean regularly. Gavin says Sean thought about Jean in the room steam stuff. Oh my God. Benjamin Loudly says you look like you're about to reminisce about something.
Dex
Oh,
Baker
It's the
says
dream
he
sequence.
loves her.
Yeah.
Yeah. Dex Baker says he loves her personality.
yes. She's a beautiful soul. Did you guys not watch X-Men 97? Look, am I the only one present? Let's be honest right now. Am I the only one present that cried during
Yes.
X3 The Last Stand
Yep.
at the
Yeah.
end of the movie? Why are you
Go
guys
ahead, stop.
answering?
Yep.
You don't know the part.
I know
I
exactly.
didn't cry during
you're
any
right.
part of the movie.
I didn't. Period.
There's
Full
not a
stop.
superhero movie that's made me cry.
Then you're heartless. You didn't cry at the end of Logan?
Terrible.
No. I was laughing at my friend Matt who was crying.
I would laugh at that if I saw that.
Yeah, I was clearly laughing in his face.
All right. All right. I guess I'm alone. I'm used to it. That's fine. Izzy's issue says Sean soap opera. We're about to have a memory sequence. I dream of Jeannie. Oh, that's good. That could be a shirt. That could be a shirt of ours. Me
No.
dreaming about Jean Grey. Why not?
I said so.
It's probably better off as a washcloth or tissue
Oh.
box.
Tilo says you're the only
Half
one
glove.
that cried during X3. That's not possible.
Yeah. Dan says it. I cried just because I wanted it to end.
Yes, Dex Baker is an emotional movie. X-Men 3 was a very emotional movie for me. Gavin has me pegged. Sean likes redheads, muscle mommies, and well done steaks. You got me.
Don't say pegged and then get into muscle mommies in the same sentence. Jesus,
Dude,
Sean.
that's your brain. I don't know why you think like that. Cole says, only thing I remember from X3 is I'm the Juggernaut. Well, yeah, that was a classic line. I'm the Juggernaut, bitch, is like one of the original internet memes. And I hated it. I hated it.
But it had Sean sobbing.
No, not that part. The two
Oh, sorry.
parts of that movie, well, you guys understand Gene. But the other part, the part that I think is actually one of the best scenes in any X-Men movie ever. Disagree with this at your own risk. It's the beginning when Angel's a young boy and he's in the bathroom cutting his wings off. And then his dad is like trying to get in the room and he opens the door and you see him standing there cutting his wings and his back is bloody. Oh my God. Incredible. Incredible.
That made you cry?
No, but it was an incredible moment. That was the best part of the movie, arguably.
All downhill from there.
To some. To some. Okay, before we get into the stack, which is impending, I do want to share some thoughts about Terminator number 2.
Oh,
And by that,
yeah.
I mean the comic. Now, it didn't come out this week. Unfortunately, there was some issue, there's some snafu between Dynamite and the distributors. I don't know all the details.
It came out digitally.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's on Amazon.
Oh, huh. Interesting. Digital came out first. It's almost like there are benefits to digital. Wow.
You can talk to me about that when the sales of digital eclipse 10%. Now, Terminator 2. It didn't come out physically this week, but Sal of Comic Pop was nice enough to send us a review copy of issue 2. And Tyler and I had the opportunity to check it out. So this is written by Declan Shalvey, who writes the primary, like the main story. Art by David O'Sullivan, colors by Colin Craker, letters by Jeff Eckleberry. I love Terminator a lot, and I was really excited for Declan to be announced on this book. I wouldn't say that I'm in love yet, but I am enjoying it. So, like, each issue so far, we're just 2 issues deep, is taking us to a different point in time with different individuals that have been targeted by Terminators. And it's pretty interesting. This one takes us to Vietnam, the Vietnam War
Yeah.
specifically. And there is a Terminator on a mission in the jungles of Vietnam, and he is lacing the Vietnam soldiers. Like, they are just getting bodied. There are bodies everywhere in this comic book. And it very much reminded me of the way that I felt about, although it's the opposite sentiment, the way I felt about Junkyard Joe and his involvement in issue 1 of that book, where they place him in the war. I think it's the same war. And that goes down in a very different way. But seeing a Terminator just mow humans down this way is actually pretty unsettling, especially because there's just no emotion on its face at all as it's doing this. Like, these are real people. You think about the horror of the Vietnam War and what a terrible battle that was, and there were no winners in that conflict. And here's a Terminator, doesn't give a damn, just killing people with no care in the world. I was affected by that. That to me was the most impactful part of this issue. But I am excited to see where things go.
I don't know. The idea of a Terminator standing around with a machine gun and a rice hat is kind of goofy. I don't have much of a love for the Terminator franchise. You're a fan, right, Sean? For
That's
Terminator
my
stuff?
favorite franchise.
Yeah. So this probably hits for you more than it hits for me. I don't know. It's fine. It felt like a Vietnam, war comic with um, a murderous robot man. That's cool.
Well, Sal Crivelli of Comic Pop, who, if you can hear me, I'm sure you're aware of Sal and you're a fan of Comic Pop. He gets 2 pages in the back of each issue, and it's I mean, we haven't had the chance to speak to Sal about this yet. We are gonna eventually have him come on the show. But it must be really tough to tell a story across 2 pages. But this issue, it's got a very well, I guess we shouldn't spoil it because it's not out yet for everybody. Um, it's a very traditional Terminator style um sequence that will tittle you if you love the Terminator, even if it doesn't give you too much to ride with. But Sal's doing something. We just need to see it all come together, which is going to take a few issues, but we do need to see it all come together.
Give him some more pages. That's what I say to Dynamite.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. I wish he had like they always do these backups, not Dynamite necessarily, but the industry. They do these backups that often are like, but if you're gonna do a Terminator book and you're gonna do a backup, give it some page space. Give it, Sal should have the time to cook. I really am interested in him as a writer. I want more. But I
And
enjoyed it.
the artist for that one is David O'Sullivan, right? For the Sal's
Yeah,
story.
yeah, him too. That story too, he does, yes.
Okay. Yeah, I think the art looks interesting. I'm curious about this. I mean, this happened in the first issue of this too, so it's not a spoiler for this issue. But this Terminator that's getting reactivated, who's been dormant underground, it looks like. So it's not the traditional Terminator trajectory of like being sent from the future and coming down and then having a mission. This one is dormant, and he now exists in a world where he probably shouldn't. So like that's a compelling story. So I do want to see more of that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty cool. And thanks a lot again to Sal. Thanks to Dynamite for getting this to us. Really appreciate you hooking that up, and I can't wait to see what else you do. It's a lot of fun. I agree with Mike. Mike Hanks says, "Let Sal cook." I am with that wholeheartedly. Um, Aaron Ruiz asks, "Do you have any unpopular opinions of the sequels? Everyone mentions the first two, but what about the rest?" So, I am an apologist for Terminator 4, Terminator Salvation. I think that movie is pretty good. That's the one with Christian Bale. It became memeified because everybody knows about the backstage conflict that happened where he got really angry at the lighting guy and he
Yeah.
yelled at the lighting guy, Christian Bale. It's a great audio. I highly recommend it if you've never heard it before. One of the funniest things I've ever heard in my life. But I really think that movie is quality. It's very good. It has an interesting twist. It doesn't go as far as it should have, but I always wanted to see like what happens in the future, and we finally got to see it, and I wasn't disappointed. I like seeing John Connor as an adult. Christian Bale was the perfect actor because of how good of an actor he is, and I think there's a lot of cool stuff in there. Gavin says Sarah Connor, Sean's original muscle mommy. Yes, absolutely. Sarah Connor and Buffy the Vampire Slayer are very much responsible for me in that way. All right, let's get into the stack. Let's get into Sean's stack. This is the segment where you guys help me get over buying too many books every week by convincing me that I don't have to. Last week we made some progress. I was able to convince myself to drop some series that I have not been necessarily loving. So we were able to accomplish that. We'll see if that's reflected this week. And if we have time, I can go over the rest of the books that are in my list and we can cut some more titles. But yeah, let's see those numbers.
Now, listen, y'all. Y'all, you were posting long before I was ready for them.
You got to
So
open the
we're
floor
gonna,
for numbers.
yeah. If I miss some, that's on y'all.
Yeah, what are we doing? Atomic Hound reshared his because he
He
had
got
shared
his
his.
in.
Yeah.
Izzy, I think, had 20.
Yeah.
All right. So on Terminator #2, the issue, are Sal's stories separate? They're separate stories in each issue, and they're 2 pages each, or is it one continuing 2-page story?
I think they're building towards something.
Yeah.
I think so, but I'm not 100% sure.
Hmm.
They should though.
Okay, I think you can start with Rami. I think Rami was the first one for when the floor is open for numbers.
Okay, then here we go. We've got Rami at 15, near, never far away. Hopefully, he's near the number. 19 for the stack. James Jones, perennial winner, says 15 for Sean in the stack. There, I said it first, but he didn't because Rami did. Gavin says 13. We have Dan Trudeau at 17. We have Marowak Escuro at 16. Luna at 16. Aaron Ruiz at 18. Jack Coulter at 15. Tom McCown coming in at 21. Cole at 14. Jedi Ty using his force powers, number 14. Figure drawing at 22. Izzy's Issues, got that 20 in there. James Jones, perennial winner, already said 15. Mrs. Hound, we got a new contender, says 19. Gavin's in there again. We got him 13. Pete Collins says 22. Mike Rochburn, that's a new name, says 17.
You want to say that name again, Cal?
Rochburn, Mike Rochburn.
Oh my god, dude. Yo, those are my favorite kind of names.
Dude, I played pub trivia yesterday, and my uncle is one who has to. He does the trivia, so we made sure our team name was Hugh Janus.
Nice.
Always funny.
It's fantastic.
Lucas Holner said, Sean, I had 25. You ain't got me this week. I guess 19.
Okay. Damn. How big of a week was it? 25. Damn.
He said he's buying all the DC books. So, and he said his wallet is hurting him.
Yeah.
So this is
Yeah. Woo. Okay. All right. Well, we've got the 6 that we reviewed. We have Black Lightning #1. Yes, of course, I did have to buy this. No, I have not had a chance to read it though, but I am excited.
Can I just throw one question out for both of you guys?
Sure.
How you guys feeling about these all-in covers, where it's like characters, white background, logo that they're kind of standing on? I kind of dig them.
They're cool.
I like logos for superheroes. I'm a big sucker for a logo.
Yeah, logos are good. I guess in this era, it's good to have the character focus. In this all-in era. So, it shows a good starting point, I think. And that's good and effective.
Sug, how do I say your name? Because
Sugoi. It's Japanese.
Sugoi Death?
Yeah.
Okay. Sugoi is a new patron of ours. Thank you. You're going to get your shout out on Saturday. Not your nickname, that'll come, but your shout out is absolutely impending. And thank you so much for choosing to do that at the highest tier at that. What do the numbers mean? Sorry, I'm kind of new here. So the game, I should have explained this, that's my bad, is you guys share a number of the books you think I bought this week. And whoever's closest without going over can win the code to any of the Marvel books that I bought this week. Or you just get a no prize. So that's up to you. Okay. So I also got X-Force #5. This came out last week, but I missed it, so I needed to rectify that. Batman and Robin #15. PKJ, hopefully still cooking. Haven't read it. Helen of Windhorn. This is the finale issue. I was told I should drop this, but it's over. So, hopefully it ended well. Absolute Batman #1, the Noir edition. I was waffling on whether I would get this or not. Then I opened it, and I was like, how could I not? Like, look at this first page. Look at that. That's sick.
It's like the first page of the first issue, except
but
color.
with no color. That's awesome.
Whoa, except in black and white. Whoa.
It looks really cool, actually.
Honestly, they should have done that. Actually, no, the color on the first issue was fucking phenomenal. I was going to say they should have just went for Batman being a noir book. But
You know what? I really yeah, I when they showed the original images so many months ago, I was way more into the black and whites than I was the color.
Trakota's artworks in black and white. That book he did, Ghost something, was really good.
They're doing this for all the number ones, and I don't think I'll buy them for any but this because this is the only one I was compelled by. Maybe because I've already seen the art in black and white. But yeah, I don't care for the other ones. I just want this one. Transformers number 14. Psylocke number 1. I went with who is this again? This is on the variant.
Put it up. I can tell you.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
Artgerm, right?
Yeah, it's Archer. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the Marvel variants. Marvel rival Snap. Sorry, Snap. There's so many Marvel games now. I always
For
get
real.
the Archer variant.
That's it.
Oh,
Oh, that's only 13.
Yeah, I came in under
Holy
this
cow.
week. If the over under
Uh,
perennially is 15, I came in under.
I think that's Gavin.
hey.
What?
Yeah, that's Gavin.
Look,
13.
congratulations, Gavin, on what I believe is your first win. I can give you a code if you want, but I
Wow.
feel like you have more access to Marvel books than I do because you work at Marvel. That's
Wow.
hilarious that Gavin won. That's awesome. Mike Crotchburn says, "Did you see the AEW Timeless Tony Storm backup?" Yeah, yeah, it's pretty cool. They've been doing that. They've done them. They've done a few already. This is like the
Yeah.
fifth one or sixth one or whatever. Actually, I think it's a rerun because I feel like I read that one already. Marowak Escuro said, "Did you get the colors to paint it? Who the fuck do you think I am? A person with talent?
You can do
Well,
it, Sean. You got it.
you just
Absolutely
get a
not.
crayon box. Not that big a deal. We all did
Absolutely
it as
not.
kids.
No, 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 no. I cannot do that. So okay, I enjoyed a lot being able to cull my list a little bit last week. So this week, we're not going to go through the whole list again. And we won't do this again, at least not on a weekly basis, maybe monthly or something. But I did want to quickly run through the series that I am reading, that I'm purchasing, but I'm at least one issue behind on, and have you guys tell me if I should keep it or drop it. Keep it or cut it. That's what we're going with. That's the name of this little tag on segment here. Keep it or cut it.
Forgot we were doing that.
Yeah. We'll do it quick. So I'm just gonna mention the books that I am really far behind on, or I don't know that I particularly care about. So at the top is Something is Killing the Children. Don't know who's killing the children because I am that far behind.
Something is. Do they even know? Is that the whole premise?
Right. I don't know if they know. I don't know who knows.
Yeah. How long has it been? They haven't figured it out yet?
I'm pretty far behind on this book.
Just cut it, dude.
Cut it.
Just cut it. Honestly, that's a good book that you might want to pick up and trade. Just saying.
I don't do that. I don't do that.
Okay.
Okay,
alright.
cut it.
Then just cut it. Yeah.
Chat, what do you say?
You're reading the other Tiny books. Like, you don't got to read all of them.
You probably get the gist.
Yeah, something's killing the children. The children are in a bad situation, and somebody helps them not kill the children.
Somebody will figure it out.
Jessica
that's
or Erica Slaughter? Erica Slaughter's there. She's helping the kids.
Oh, it
Erica.
doesn't sound like it.
Is she related to the You Done Goofed dad? No, that's Jesse Slaughter. Never mind. It's a different Slaughter.
Tilo, Cole, Nick, Pete Collins, Luna. They all say cut. No, sorry, they all say keep. Oh, they
Yeah.
all say keep.
I think
What I'm
that's a
learning
key.
is that maybe you don't ask the chat this because they just want you to keep everything.
No,
Yeah, it's
no,
tough.
no. There were a lot of votes for cut last week for books that just needed to go. Something is Killing the Children is a book that is excellent, so it doesn't
Yeah.
surprise me that Chad is saying to hang in there.
Everybody seems to really like that one. Oh, yeah. Marowak points out that the TV series is coming soon, so you can cut it.
No,
You get the gist.
no. I'm gonna keep that. I'm gonna go with the chat. Monstrous. Monstrous. Now it's
I don't-
known around here. I haven't read an issue of Monstrous in about 30 issues.
What was? Do you remember the number of the last issue you read?
Been about
Could
30
you
issues.
tell me the story?
Ooh.
Cut it.
So
Yeah,
no, no. I
cut it.
vaguely remember.
Me too. I haven't read it probably for about as long as you have. You haven't read it.
It's like feudal Japan, and there are cute little monster creatures that,
Final Fantasy cutscene.
yeah, it's Final Fantasy.
Boy, different monsters than what I read.
Really?
I only read. I don't even know if I made it through the first trade though. So
I mean, I loved the book. You're right. I loved it when I was reading it, but I fell off. I think it was one of those books where I had a delay and then I lost it.
Mm-hmm. I think that's actually what happened to me too.
Yeah.
yeah, we've got Jedi Ty says keep. Dex Baker says you don't have the passion to continue or catch up, so cut. Radio winner James Jones says keep. Izzy says cut. Tilo says catch up. Pete says cut. Cole says keep the indie books. Tilo says keep. Jack says 30 issues back, gotta be a cut.
That's how I feel.
That's double digits you're behind. You're behind up.
How much money is that? It's over
So,
$100.
so let's say $4.
Yeah, so it's 120 bucks.
How many well done, badly prepared steaks could that buy?
Where I like to go, one.
Oh, you are wasting your money on that stuff.
Don't tell me about wasting money. Let's not get into that.
You could get it
Let's not get into that.
a little better up.
You're going to tell me I'm wasting money on what I enjoy? How dare you? I love it. It's good.
I would say that's also $120. Could have went towards like a Jean Grey statue. You know,
That's true. That's true.
5 trades. It's a great point, Dex.
that's true. Yeah.
All right. All right. I am going to draw the line and say cut.
Izzy underlines it. I like some people defending the keep up before deciding to cut, but if the enthusiasm hasn't been there to read it in 2.5 years, then that's pretty obvious.
It's a lot more than that timeline. By
Yeah,
the way.
with the image delays, that's yeah.
Yeah.
That's like maybe
Okay,
5 years.
Can I ask you a question, Sean?
More. Yeah.
Why are you picking it up?
Because I am.
Great.
That's my actual answer. That's not bullshit.
Is it like a FOMO thing? Like, is it like, oh, I know this is good. I will get to it eventually because I've heard it's good.
No, it's because I liked it when I was reading it. And as a comic book reader, there's always the idea in
Okay.
your mind that you're going to catch up. So I'm just buying it, Hopefully I do one day, but I agree that for now I should drop it. So I will. I will. Lucas Haltner says, Sean, do I drop Ultimate X-Men? Yes. If it is not, if you have to ask me, then the answer is yes. That's how I feel about that.
Yeah, it's not like you're asking Marco, right? Like,
Blade Red Band. I don't even need to ask you guys. I'm cutting that. I read the first issue this week.
Wait,
and I
it's
did
not just
care.
it's not just a one shot.
No. Oh no.
Oh, I
that's
thought it was
the
a
new
one shot.
series title.
Okay,
Yeah.
Amory Wars. That's the Coheed and Cambria comic book. I don't need to ask you guys. I'm cutting that too. I don't want it anymore. I don't read them. I don't care.
Yeah, just listen to the music. You get the story there.
Yeah. And you know what? Oh, this is the controversial one. This one I don't know what to do about, for real. This is Phoenix. I have read one issue of Phoenix. Jean Grey is my favorite character. You guys know it. I love her. Look at that beautiful Jean Grey toy that Tyler is holding.
You could have bought
wish
3
I
of
owned
these.
That figure actually really looks like Famke Jensen, actually.
They've been doing a real good job on the facial work, honestly.
Yo, where can I get that at?
I'll send you a link.
They actually, I saw that at New York Comic Con. I should have bought it. I should have used Comics Bucks on that.
You should have.
Damn it.
Did I tell you guys what I got with my comics bucks?
Food?
No.
I got the Peter B. Parker Mafex.
Oh, cool. Does it come with the sweatpants? Oh, sick.
Not even in the.
Oh, it's actual cloth, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, I've been tempted to get it just so I could keep that jacket, but then
It's
I'm like,
it's
thanks.
the only superhero figure I will let myself have, and I couldn't just walk away.
Where'd you get that?
London Comic Con,
Nice.
MCM, baby. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, so what's the word? Should I cut it? Should I cut Phoenix? I didn't care too much for the first issue. I think we're 4 deep, but it's Gene.
I'm up to date on it, Sean.
Okay.
I don't think you'll like it. I think you would have liked you'd like the book if it wasn't Gene. Does that make sense?
Sure.
I think the concept and the story and the characterizations are good and it's fun, but it's not what I imagine you wanting out of a Gene book.
You said as much. Like you're against the entire principle of the book. Drop it.
I
You don't
maintain
need
it's
it.
a good book, but I think the downsides are more than the upsides for Sean on this one.
Oh my God. Oh, this is tough.
She does have a war of words with gore that leads into a physical fight too. The
That
idea of
doesn't
Sean doesn't
childhood.
like that.
that doesn't appeal.
Then all right, there you go.
Jack
The
says
Corsair team up's one
Corsair
issue. It's one issue.
Corsair team up. That I'm out. I'm
You already,
out.
you already bought the
Corsair.
issue. You got it.
Yeah. Wasn't he pregnant? When was
Wait,
Corsair pregnant?
wait, what?
You guys don't remember that?
No, I didn't know we got Mpreg in X Men comics.
Cyclops'
Yeah.
dad?
Yeah. There was a book where he was pregnant.
Go ahead, do a quick Google.
I'm not making that up. That did not come from my imagination.
Corsair and the X-Men, pregnancy and context.
Don't look at the image tab, Cale. It is horrifying. I wish I had never seen that.
It's bugged out. Yeah.
Oh my god.
And I don't know how that resolved. So I was thinking my man was still, pregnant. It takes
Does
some
it come
time to
out the
pop the kid
butt
out.
or the peen?
Great question.
I don't know.
Is it like Cell from Dragon Ball Z, where it's like tail, like
That little sucker he has.
yeah?
Banksy Main says by the brood. I think so. I think it was a brood impregnation, which is
Was this around the time Joker got pregnant?
I wonder.
January
You know what?
2023. Maybe.
You know what?
Yeah.
It must be because there's there's a Reddit headline that says "Guess Mpregs branching past Joker this month."
oh my god, dude.
Honestly, we need
Oh.
more Mpreg in comics. I think.
Hey,
Who would
you
you
know what?
guys Mpreg in comics right now? Who would have the?
I wish I hadn't seen that.
It's graphic. It's disgusting. It
Yeah,
looks like me
man.
after Taco
Boy.
Bell, eating in the Romantic Depot parking lot by myself.
Izzy's issue says, "Do you ever regret typing something immediately after you type it? Try doing 5 hours of podcasting a week, and then wonder how many times you say something out of your mouth that thousands of people will hear that you, after the fact, realize, wow, that was pretty stupid to say." That's the comics pals.
I've learned not to feel that way.
I've learned not to look. That's why I forget.
The shame is how I avoid saying those kinds of things in the future. I'm gonna cut Phoenix.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do it.
Give it a
You're-
C-section, just like pregnant Corsair.
Oh my god. Oh my god. I have regrets.
You'll be a better person for it.
Someone tell me when it gets good, if it gets good. And also tell me, because now I've cut some books, what should I add? What should I be reading? I'm going to share. No, I'm not. I don't know if I'll do that. I was going to say I'm going to share my pull list with you guys on the Discord, but that might ruin the stack. So I don't know if I'll do that. But I do want to hear from you guys what you think I should add to my stack now that I have replaced or now that I've gotten rid of some books. I have to do it, Hound. I'm sorry. I know it. I know it. Okay, that's going to do it for us here we're gonna head out. Saturday at 10:15 a.m. Eastern is the next time that we will be live with you. Make sure that you stay tuned Monday for the new show we are dropping. We're going to be talking to you guys about the new books for the week. Channel members, you will be able to watch it as of tomorrow, Friday. So if you're a channel member, look out for it. It's going to be dropping. We want all your feedback. We want to hear what you think about it. Scrutinize. Tell us how you think we can do it better. What is it that people are going to want to see from us that we didn't do, etc., etc., etc. Your feedback is critical to us. In the spirit of that, also, if you have the time, please do fill out the feedback form. We need your help. So head on over to, well, there's a link to it in the description of the video. And there is also a link on our youtube.com/the Comics Pals community tab. So all that is available. Make sure you check all that stuff out. All the books that you guys are suggesting that I add to my pull list are already on it, except Wonder Woman, because I can't do it anymore. Anyway, we will see you on Saturday. Till then.